Well, it's about that time again. Gonna talk to myself for about an hour or so and listen to myself talk while I edit it. How are you today? Me, I'm doing pretty good. I am hot, boy. I am hot. I am staying my butt indoors today. It is a heat wave here in Baltimore. Wishing I had me an in-ground swimming pool. I have barely even been outside, and oh my word, I was having to wait outside for my Uber on my way home from work today and started sweating my butt off after about 15 seconds after walking out the door. It was craziness. The other day, I ordered myself an Uber, and after it showed me the person that was picking me up, I always check them out. Girl, you never know. And I will check the rating, and I will check out that picture, and if I get an unsettled vibe, I will promptly cancel that ride. So I checked who was picking me up. Y'all, it was a darn coworker I used to have. It was a coworker I had during COVID, and let me tell you, I was immediately panicking. And I was not in a position to cancel because the funds were running low and the Uber prices were really high. So, it was going to charge me almost the full amount if I canceled it. So, yeah, I immediately felt extremely humbled. Texted my husband because my husband also knew this person, and I said, oh my word, I want to crawl in a hole and die. So I couldn't cancel. So I was just hoping and praying, please act like you don't know me. Please act like you don't know me. If it had been a coworker that I got along with well, it would have been kind of like, oh my gosh, hey, good to see you. Not that big of a deal, but this was a coworker that I didn't have any problems with. We just weren't very well acquainted with each other, and his significant other was not a big fan of me. Okay, we were fine by the time I left, but it was a rocky start, and I don't think her husband ever really got to know me enough to like me after that. So yeah, it was uncomfortable, but I was just thinking, okay, Katie, let's just act like we don't know this person. Worst comes to worst, he'll recognize me, we'll have a little giggle about it, it'll be fine. But I was just hoping and praying he wouldn't recognize me. So I was waiting on the curb, I see him pull in, we lock eyes, he immediately puts on a baseball cap and sunglasses, and I thought, okay, this is how we're going to play this. So I get in the back of the car, and normally when you get in an Uber, you'll be like, hi, are you so-and-so? That did not happen this time because we were both very well aware of who was who and what was what. So I got in there and proceeded to act like we didn't know each other. We didn't say a word the entire ride. 5 out of 5 stars. He handled it beautifully, executed to perfection. That was exactly what I needed. And I am very grateful that it didn't get weird, okay? However, I do hate the fact that he knows exactly where I live now. But that's all right. That's all right. He doesn't give me creepy stalker vibes, so it was just a little bit uncomfortable and a whole lot of humbling. Ubers, like the whole concept of Uber and all of that to me can get so weird. I have had to Uber for a real long time. I had a car for a couple of years, but it died. And so for years I Ubered to and from work almost pretty much every single day. And I'm back to it because my car died a couple months ago. And I just find the whole thing weird. You never know what you're gonna get. Of course, I think everybody's kind of in agreement that, like, if I get in an Uber and we don't speak a single word to each other except, hi, how you doing, and have a good day, be careful, that is primo. Okay, that's what you want, or that's what I want. After a long day of work, I'm not trying to sit back there and talk to you. Okay, sorry, that might be a hot take. That might be really mean of me, but whew, I work in customer service, girl. So the last thing I want to do is get off of work and continue that customer service sounding conversation. I hate small talk. I hate it with a passion. So, yeah, it's just, I remember having some rides over the years that were wild. I remember the first, like, pretty crazy one that I had. I was living out in West Virginia at the time. I used to work in a dementia unit at a senior living facility, which are more stories for different days. But I remember my shifts would either be 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. or it would be 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. the next day if I wanted like overtime or if they needed coverage. And so when it was 11 p.m., it was sometimes hard to find a ride home because it was in the middle of nowhere, okay? Hillbilly deluxe. And so I remember one time I got off later than 11. I want to say it was like between midnight and maybe 1 a.m. And I was living with my family at the time. I had asked for a ride and they weren't answering. They were already in bed. I had tried calling, texting, blowing up everybody's phone. Nobody was answering. And so I was like, darn, okay, let me go ahead and see what Uber's talking about. So I got an Uber, ordered one, could not believe it got picked up. And they were like, we'll be there in like 15, 20 minutes. So I said, bet, that is sick. I cannot believe I got one. So I was dating this dude at the time and he was the only one awake, but he didn't live anywhere near me. So I remember texting him, hey, I'm getting in this Uber. Here's the information for it. Just can you track me until I get home? So not that he could have done anything about it because my whole family was sleeping, but anywho, so I just wanted somebody to be aware of where I was going, what I was doing. So this car pulls up, middle of the night. All the lights were off everywhere because obviously everybody's in bed. And in this Uber, there was the driver who was one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen in my life. And in the passenger seat was yet another man who was also gigantic. And I'm not saying like width-wise. I'm saying they were bowed up, okay? They could kill somebody with their pinky if they wanted to, it looked like. So immediately before I got in, I started thinking, why are there two of you in this car? It only takes one person to drive a car. This seems weird to me. But I had no other choice, and I was also very young and dumb, so I got in there. I got in the back seat, and we take off, and it was like maybe a 10-minute drive back to my house. And so I was thinking like, all right, girl, you just got to survive 10 minutes. You'll be all right. Well, we started driving. They were kind of having some conversation. I don't even remember what about, but we were almost back on the street my house was on, and they take a turn down a gravel road with 0 streetlights. And I knew the area very well. There was nothing at the end of this gravel road. And I remember immediately feeling like I'm having a heart attack. I'm thinking, okay, this is where I have come to die. This is my time. If it's my time, it's my time. Okay. I was freaking out. And so I finally, after they turned down that gravel road, I was having all these thoughts within a matter of probably like 15 seconds. And I said, excuse me, sir, this is not where I live. Excuse me, sir, please don't kill me. So I said, excuse me, I'm sorry. This is a dead-end road. My house isn't on this road. And they said something like, yeah, we know a back way. Like, it's a shortcut. Don't worry about it. And I'm sorry. I'm going to worry about it. I was freaking out and I didn't know what to do. I was wondering, do I pop this door open and jump out on the gravel and run for my life? What do I do? Well, I literally had my hand on the door handle, about to, I'm not even joking with y'all, I was about to jump out of that darn car when they finally said, dang, you're right, they must have done something here. I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to scare you. Let's turn around. We'll go back. And I thought, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. But my heart was racing until we got to my house and they dropped us off. Me off. There was no one with me. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, I was freaking out, dude. That crap was serious for me. And like, especially now that I'm older, I think back to that and I'm like, you really have no idea what it is to be a young woman, do you? Because there's just no, how did their brains not go to like, oh, this is probably really scary for her going down an abandoned gravel road without any lights with two huge grown men that she's never met before. Like, the fact that that didn't even cross their mind at all is wild to me. That wasn't even the worst part, though. So after I actually got home, I had forgot my house key. Sure did. And so I was knocking on the door, ringing our doorbell over and over. No one was waking up, y'all. So finally, I was like, what the heck? How are y'all sleeping through all this? With a dog in the house that'll bark at anything, too. And she wasn't waking up either. So I ended up having to go into our backyard and I found a bunch of rocks and I took my shoes off and I was throwing everything I could up at my parents' bedroom window. It was on the second floor and I was chucking my shoes to their window, trying so hard to get them to wake up. And finally, my dad opened the window and said, "Who is that?" And I was like, open the darn front door, y'all. It's about 2 a.m. I'm ready to go to sleep. That was, honestly, I've never had a moment where I was like, dang, I'm about to die. Except for that. That was terrifying. I remember having another Uber driver. This was a few years later. I was moved out at this point, and I think I was on my way to work or something. And back in the day, I would talk to an Uber driver, like, a lot. When I had more energy in me, girl, I would be gabbing. And so I used to ask Uber drivers, like, what's the craziest ride or drive that you've ever done with Uber? Like, what's a wild story? Because as crazy as it is to get into a stranger's car, I feel like it's also very crazy to have strangers get in your car and do whatever they want because they feel like, well, I paid for it, I'm entitled to do what I want. So I asked this one guy, so what's your craziest Uber story? And he was telling me about, like, I don't remember all the details. All I remember is he said the dude who got in his car was pissed off about something going off and ended up talking to him somehow about his gun and pulled out a gun on the Uber driver. And the Uber driver, instead of calling 911 or kicking the dude out of his car, he pulled out his own gun and pointed it back at the dude. And in that moment, during that ride, I thought, ew, so you are telling me you got a gun on you? I mean, I don't think it's far-fetched to assume if he had a gun when someone pulled a gun on him, why wouldn't he continue carrying the gun in the car? So, yeah, that freaked me out a little bit. I mean, thankfully he was super nice. I just thought it was kind of crazy to drop the fact that he had a gun like that. I was like, oh, okay, that got serious. That got a little intense. Now, I will say, I have been on some crazy Uber rides, but sometimes it is very entertaining. So I love it whenever an Uber driver will take a phone call when I'm in the back seat, because half the time they have them on speakerphone and I get to hear all their business. And it's tea sometimes. So not too long ago, I was in an Uber and the girl said, "Oh, my sister's calling me. Do you care if I take it?" And I said, "No, girl, do your thing." So she ended up taking this phone call, and her sister had caught the Uber driver's boyfriend cheating, like had ran into him somewhere, caught him cheating with another girl, and then went into detail about fighting the girl and the boyfriend. And it was crazy. I got all this lady's lore in like a 13-minute Uber too. I said, huh? I thought that was crazy. When I was getting out the car, I said, "I am so sorry to hear what happened. I'll be sure to tip you extra." That was wild. I could not believe, like, I wouldn't, you know what? I was about to be really hypocritical. I was about to be like, I wouldn't put all my business out there for everybody, but look at us. Who'd have thought? Look at us. Now, to be completely fair, it hasn't always been the driver that's been the crazy one, okay? I have been known a time or two to get a little bit crazy on a night out and become a menace on the drive back home, okay? I am fully aware of that. I try not to do it anymore. But I do remember when I had first turned 21, I went out with a friend and got real crazy, like crazier than we should have. And I don't remember all the details. It's a little bit fuzzy, but I do remember getting in his car. This sweet man did not deserve this. I started explaining to him the entire plot of New Girl. I'm talking every character's name. I'm talking all the plot points, when Jess and Nick get together, whenever Cece and Schmidt get married. I told this Uber driver everything, every single detail, because he had never watched it. I remember asking, "Have you seen it?" He said, "No, never even heard of it." So I explained the entire show, and it was definitely one of those times where you wake up the next day and you're like, "Ugh, that's embarrassing." So I am sorry to that man. But to be fair, whenever anything like that does happen, I make sure to tip on tip on tip extra, okay? Because I like cannot imagine being a wagon pulling around some drunk idiots all the time. It just makes me feel so bad that I did that to that guy. I tell you what, though, I do love a good night out every once in a while. I don't do it nearly as much as I used to, because as I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate, that feeling the next day after going too hard is not worth it. Rarely, if ever, honestly. So I don't do it as often anymore, but I will say I had a night out not too long ago that talk about the anxiety the next day. So embarrassing. So, me and my sister-in-law go out a lot, or not go out a lot. We'll hang out a lot. And one thing about us is when we're under the influence, we love to get into some trouble. We egg each other on, and I feel like do things that we wouldn't normally necessarily do on our own, or at least I wouldn't. Because it's fun. You always need an accomplice. Like, it's fun. So we ended up going out together to this little dive bar near her house. And we had planned not to get too crazy. That was our first mistake, because every single time we say, let's not get too crazy, ends up usually being like more crazy than we would have gotten had we said we're going to get crazy. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if that's just a me and her thing, but I feel like when we intentionally try not to get crazy, the crazy stuff happens. So we went to this dive bar, had, I think, like maybe 2 or 3 drinks or something. Now, here was the second mistake. The second mistake was ordering food with chorizo on it. Now, listen, girl, I love chorizo just like the next guy. Okay, it is delicious. I get the draw. However, my stomach, no. My stomach can handle a lot, but something about chorizo, I can't do it. Ever. I've never been able to. So, and I knew it had chorizo on it, okay? I was not duped at all. I knew exactly what it was, and I was willing to take that risk. So I took a couple of bites of the chorizo. It was nachos, so I took a couple nachos. And I shouldn't have done it. I should not have done that. Because by the time we were done at this dive bar, she was like, okay, do you want to go home? Do you want to keep going? And y'all know, after you get a little bit of a buzz going, you're like, I want to go somewhere else. So we ended up going somewhere else. Now, the next place we went to is kind of a trendy little, like, queer catering bar, and it has a, like, dance floor in another part of it. So it's a place I like to frequent. Not all the time, but when I do go out, I do enjoy going there. Well, not anymore, because we were going to have a couple more drinks, and I went up to the bar and asked her at the bar, what tequilas do you have? Now listen, this place only had the cheapest of the cheap, down low, dirty rail tequila you have ever heard of, or Don Julio. Those were my 2 options. And I don't got Don Julio money, honey. So I said, whatever, just give me 2, of the cheap one. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, so we ended up getting one of those each. And do y'all know that feeling when you're about to throw up and it starts to tingle a little bit and your mouth like starts watering? And that's your body telling you, like, hey, get somewhere safe. Well, my body did not do that day. That chorizo said, I'm back, out of nowhere, dude, nowhere. I projectile vomited in the middle of this bar all over the table. And it wasn't some cute little, like, baby spit up. It looked like I was getting exorcised. A demon was coming out of me. That chorizo came back with a vengeance. Oh my gosh. And I felt so terrible because my poor sister-in-law was using her bare hands, scraping it off the table and into a glass. And the whole time going, it's okay. Nobody saw you. You're fine. No one saw you. Don't be embarrassed. It happens. She literally was the best person that could have happened with, because she was so gracious about it and so forgiving and so kind. And like my what's it called? Fight or flight didn't work in that moment. I froze after it happened. I was just standing there watching her doing what she was doing, like, what the heck just happened? So yeah, we ended up going to the bathroom, cleaning out that glass, and getting the heck out of there. It was mortifying. I felt terrible. So we ended up actually getting on those little scooters they have in the cities, you know, like, I think they're called Lime scooters. So you get on these scooters. We were going to scoot back to her place, okay, because it was really close. And we should not have done that. So, you know, when you get on them, they make you, in order to like unlock it, they say don't drive under the influence, because those little suckers can go like 30 miles an hour or something. Especially when you are under the influence, it feels like you are flying. Like Like you are alphabet, dude, okay? It feels like you are soaring. I will say I'm not condoning doing that, but it is the most liberating feeling you will ever experience, and I do highly recommend it. Just don't do what I did and do it when you're too far gone, okay? Because it had rained that day, and we were on some Baltimore back alleys, weaving in and out she knows those streets like crazy. So I was just following her lead, and we actually did happen to have Wicked, the soundtrack, on full blast on her phone, just belting out Defying Gravity as we're flying on these scooters, okay? Well, we get a bit down the road, and I realize, uh-oh, my phone's gone. And she said, what? So, and mind you, this is all on the heels of me projectile vomiting in the bar. Like, I'm a mess this night, okay? I was so embarrassed, and I kept saying, you're never gonna want to hang out with me again. It was like that. It was messy, embarrassing, awful. So I lost my phone. Thank the Lord she has my location. We ended up finding it on the ground of a back alley in Baltimore. We hit the road again. We're fine. We're taking off. Well, we are going pretty fast, and this black SUV is coming towards us to pass by us, and the SUV drives through a freaking puddle and drenches me, okay? I'm pretty sure it also splashed her. So at this point, I am drenched head to toe, and I crash that scooter so hard onto the ground, I literally rolled. And then I get up, I'm like getting a sense of my surroundings. I'm so out of it at this point and beat up, dude. I was bleeding. Like, y'all know those scrapes and stuff you get whenever you're skateboarding? It was like that. It looked like I'd been trying to do some kick flips or something. My knees were scraped, my elbow was scraped. Thank the Lord I didn't hit my head too hard, but I was banged up. I got up and looked at my sister-in-law, and all I heard was, ugh. And I got up, and she had also fallen off of her scooter because she had looked back, seen me fall, and jumped ship on her scooter. I will say the commitment, like, that girl had my back that night, scraping up my vomit, finding my phone for me, jumping ship, and just committing after she saw that I had fallen down. It was crazy. Like, and so, you know, when you park them, you have to take a picture of the scooter. I had, in the background of my picture was her, like, hands on her knees in agony because she was bleeding worse than I was. Oh, it was a mess, honey. I called my husband and said, please come get me. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. Dang. Shout out to her. Shout out to those friends who are there for you. No, they would fall on their sword for you, and she really did that night. I could not believe that. Now, after a night out like that, I love to come home and DoorDash something down low, nitty gritty food, boy. And usually it's Taco Bell. I love me some Taco Bell. I understand that they said they use sawdust in their food. I don't care. Sawdust tastes so good. Sawdust is finger licking good, if that's what it is. I personally really enjoy me a grilled chicken quesarito. Their nacho fries, sometimes I like them. Sometimes they're cold by the time they get to me, but I'll chug it down if I have to. I also really like their chicken quesadilla. That crap is good. I recently had a Baja Blast for the first time in a really long time. I never was a super fan. I feel like if you like a Baja Blast, you'll die for a Baja Blast. Like, people love those things. I never was really like that when I was younger, so I never ordered one as an adult until recently. And girl, that was good. Okay, I kind of get the hype now. That was really good. Oh my gosh. Did y'all hear Wendy's new, I guess, collab with Takis? Let me tell you about it. Okay, it is, hold on. You get a crispy chicken sandwich that has, I guess, Takis on top, and then like a corn dressing type thing also on top. And then you get French fries with Taki dust all over them. And then you get an actual bag of Takis along with that. And maybe other stuff. I don't know. That's all I really know. I was watching Review Bra. Anybody know that? Anybody know him? I love Review Bra. Me and my husband have watched him literally since we were teenagers. I think he's hilarious. He is one quirky little bird. I can't help it but watch him sometimes. He always makes me crack up too, because sometimes he looks like he's gonna break, but he doesn't. He never does. Obviously, it's Review Bra. If you know anything about him, you know that's a certified professional right there. I gotta say, his comment section is also the nicest comment section I have ever stumbled across. Every single one that I've read is so supportive. Anyway, so I watched his review of it. I hadn't eaten it myself, but I got to tell you, that looks like a tummy buster. I just feel like, and y'all know, I have talked about it before, I love me a chili lime chip, okay? I'm not acting like I'm above eating it. What I am saying is, I feel like I would have to eat that very closely to a bathroom. I feel like you are playing with fire eating that when you're not near a restroom. Imagine eating that on a road trip. I would be in a world of hurt and a world of trouble. Have you ever ished your pants before? And listen, I'm saying ish instead of the S word because I don't want to get in trouble with my family, okay? Have you? I'm being earnest when I ask that. And if you haven't, stop this video and get off of my channel. No, here's what I do say, actually, though. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you hadn't ished your pants, you hadn't lived long enough, honey. Your time is coming. Winter is coming for you. Now, listen, I am not going to lie. I have done that a couple of times in my adult life. When you have a sensitive tummy, it tends to happen, okay? It tends to happen. It does. And let me tell you, it is one of the most humbling experiences to have as an adult who poops in their pants. I remember the first time it happened to me, that I can remember at least. I was driving on my way to work early in the morning, and like a rookie mistake, I had not given myself the allotted poop time in the morning, okay? And I'm a coffee drinker and a smoker, so that's crazy. So I had not given myself that allotted amount of time. I had about I'd say 25, 30-ish minute drive to work. And while I was on my way, I ended up thinking, okay, I'm feeling something. I'm scared. But in my head, I was like, Katie, you have like maybe 7 more minutes of this drive. You can make it. Like, you don't have to do this. Everything's fine. You're a grown up. You can do hard things. So I kept trucking along, and all of a sudden things were starting to shift, and things were feeling worse for me. Okay, and that's when the panic starts setting in. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. You start sweating bullets a little bit. You start gripping the steering wheel a little bit harder. And you come to a realization and a bit of an acceptance as to, you know what? I can't do anything to stop this. I can't do anything to stop this. It just happened to me. You just have to let it happen. And it is so disheartening. And I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I pulled my car over, and the first person I called was my mother. I got so scared as a 24-year-old woman. I called my mom, and she said, "It's early. How are you?" And I said, "I pooped myself." I didn't know who else to call. So my sweet dear mother had to talk me through it, and the whole car ride back to my house, because you are tripping if you think I continued to go to work and continue my day. Girl, I turned around and went my butt home. I thought, if my day is starting out like this, that's a sign that I should not be going to work and putting up with customers' bull crap. If you start out your day by ishing on yourself, just give up for the rest of the day. Just go home, lay in bed, try again the next day. And that's what I did. I remember texting my boss at the time, and I think most people would probably lie or maybe just say, "Hey, I'm not feeling well. I need to stay home." Well, listen, girl, I used to have a real bad habit of calling out a lot because, corporate America, it is exhausting. I was burnt out a lot, and so I had kind of run out of excuses. So this was my moment to tell the truth, and I did. I texted my boss, and I ended up calling him, and I said, "So-and-so, this is mortifying, but here's my situation." Now, thank the Lord, I did not know this prior to calling him. He told me on the phone, "Oh my gosh, I have IBS. Don't worry about it. Go home, rest up. Been there, done that." And I thought, oh, if there was never a better moment for somebody to show me mercy like that. I was so grateful. Now, I had to go home. At this point, my husband, fiance at the time, was still asleep. It was that early in the morning. He was still asleep. Now, thank the Lord, the car that I had a seat cover on it. And I unfortunately did have to take that off and throw it in the dumpster. I threw it in our apartment complex's dumpster. And had to waddle my little poop butt inside and clean myself up as quickly as I could, because I did not want my fiance seeing that. Seeing me in that state would have been just horrific. Now, I'm about to get very vulnerable. You think I was just vulnerable? Listen, it gets even worse. So I ended up going inside, cleaning myself up, taking a whole shower, because it was bad. So after I get out of the shower, y'all, if you know me, please still love me after this. After the shower, I got out, and I happened to see something on our shower curtain. And I thought, oh my word. So apparently during the cleanup process, I had bent over and accidentally trapped the shower curtain in between my butt cheeks that were not yet cleaned. So not only did I have to clean myself up before my fiance woke up, I had to haul my butt as fast as I could down to my local Target and pick up a brand new shower curtain so that I could throw that other one away. Oh no, I was not about to waste my time cleaning it. I threw that sucker away and put on a fresh one and prayed to dear Lord my husband would not be as observant as to notice that. Now, no such luck. He clocked it as soon as he woke up, and I didn't have to, but I did explain exactly what happened, and we had a good laugh about it. And I have just got to say, I'm so grateful for his mercy. I'm so grateful for his sense of humor, and that is how I know I chose the right one. Now, if you're listening to this story and being like, ew, dude, you're disgusting. Ew, that could never be me. I'm praying it happens to you this week. Yeah, I'm praying on your downfall, baby. And when it does happen, I hope you are as humbled as I was. Because listen, if it hasn't happened to you, it will. I promise. You are going to be in a position one day. It may not be this year. It may not be next year. But at some point, you're going to be in that position. And you're going to think back to this podcast episode and think, oh, I should not have been so judgmental. Because karma is going to get your arse. Now, it truly is such a humbling experience to go through. Now, the worst part of that whole experience was the drive home. Because the way I had to go to and from work, there was no stopping. Like, it was fields, cows, all that kind of stuff, and I had nothing in my car to help me out. So I had to drive the whole way back home in that state, and just panicking on the phone with my mother. Oh my goodness, that was wild to me. Yeah, that was just a real grounding remember who you are moment. You are not who you think you are. And honey, you better believe I never, ever skip that allotted poop time in the morning anymore, okay? I learned my lesson. One and done. That's all I needed to get my ish together. No pun intended. If you're the type of person who listens to podcasts while you're eating, I do sincerely apologize. I do. I'm so sorry. Poop talk's over, okay? You're in the clear. Probably should have put a trigger warning or something on here. Now, I gotta say, I am the type of person that is kind of an open book. Once you get to know me, I really don't care about telling you any and every little detail. There's no such thing as TMI for me. I love hearing all the details. I love telling all the details. And most of my friends and family are the same way. So if you are not that kind of person, if you are not the kind of person that likes to hear details like that, I don't know if we're going to vibe, but if you're just here for some tea, you enjoy, honey, you enjoy. And learn from my mistakes. Now, one thing about me is I love to get on Reddit and read the am I the a-hole stories or am I overreacting stories and stuff like that. And if you don't know what those are, it's essentially someone who will come on there and say, hey, am I the jerk in this situation? Tell Reddit the whole entire situation they're going through, and then the commenters decide and give their opinions. Yeah, you are the jerk, or no, you're totally in the right. You shouldn't be feeling bad about your reaction or how you're feeling. And so anyway, I was scrolling Reddit the other day and came across this post that said, over 60, hating my teeth, any advice? And she ended up going into how she used to have braces as a young girl, and now that she's over 60, her teeth have shifted more because obviously, like, she doesn't wear any orthodontic stuff. I don't know, because I never had any orthodontist stuff. So her teeth have shifted, and she is struggling to love her crooked teeth. Now, girl, as a crooked tooth woman myself, I really was thinking about, for people who have always had straight teeth, or for people who have gotten braces and gotten to live, their rest of their life after braces with straight teeth and not worry about it, they may not know what it's really like. And now, I'm not trying to over dramatize what my teeth look like, okay? If you don't know me, it's not that bad. It's one tooth. But let me tell you, that tooth does enough damage, okay? It's one tooth that sits behind the rest of them, like, completely. And it is right up front with my two front teeth. So that's super fun to have. And I will say, as I've grown up, I have also struggled accepting that. I definitely went to a couple orthodontist appointments when I was younger, trying to figure out if that's something I could afford and something I wanted to do. And as I've gotten older, especially now that I'm married and found the person that doesn't care about it, I don't really care about it anymore. Of course, there's still moments where I am self-aware. There's moments where I won't want to fully smile when I laugh, because I'm like with people who may not know me that well, or if somebody's really good looking, it makes me kind of second guess doing that. I'm only human. But I really have come to terms with the fact that teeth are teeth, and it doesn't really matter that much, as long as you're taking care of them. You know what I mean? So for me, I just think about how it's kind of in a similar way of how I think about my body image, because Lord knows I've struggled with all that too. But I think of them along the same lines of, like, they are here to do a job. They're here to help you with things, your body and your teeth. And so if they're not perfect, like much of America wants them to be, as long as they're getting the job done, girl, you're fine. There's more important things to life. There's bigger fish to fry. And so I've come to terms with the fact that I have crooked teeth, and I've learned to kind of love it. Maybe not love it, okay? I've learned to accept it. But I will tell y'all, like I said before, I work in customer service, and if you have worked in a public setting, customer service, retail, food service, you are well aware of how a customer will say anything that they want to you. They do not care, because you're on the job. You can't do nothing about it, baby. And so I remember a few years ago, I was working at this job, and older gentleman comes up to the counter, and I go to help him, and I'm being friendly, so I'm smiling, have my customer service little face on, and this gentleman says, "Are you missing a tooth?" And I said, "No, sir, I just have a crooked tooth." Immediately, I'm pissed. Immediately. I'm like, why? First of all, if I was missing a tooth, why do you care? I'm going to see you for about 30 more seconds, and I'll probably never see you again in my entire life. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? So I said, "No, no, sir, they're just crooked." And he proceeds to say, "Oh, okay, can I see your tooth hole?" Sucker, why don't you bend your head down so I can see that bald spot you're trying to cover up, you freaking jerk. Oh my gosh, I could not believe the audacity. I was shook. I didn't know what to do, and hindsight's 2020. I would have handled it differently had it happened now. But this was a first-time experience for me. I was in a bit of an uncomfortable position because I was at work, and so I put on a big old grin and turn my head so he could get a good old look at it. And I don't even remember. I think he was just like, oh, okay, interesting. But I think about that all the time. What were you thinking, dude? Why would you do that to me? I definitely wanted to get nasty and say something to him, but I didn't. I kept it professional. Let him look at the oddity at the freak show, helped him with what he needed help with, and kept it pushing. But oh my gosh, I just working customer service. I'm sure everybody feels this way, but it really could be a reality TV show. Sometimes you really do feel like you're in an episode of The Office or something. Like, I want to look at the camera and give it the Jim look. Like, are you serious? Is this real life? Am I being punked right now? Oh, that was really embarrassing, but I can laugh about it now. Anywho, let me tell you about some music I've been into lately. Lately I've been getting back into some early 2000s, I guess recession era music. Just, that good music you turn on during like 2005, 2008, something kind of like that. So one that I really have been getting back into is Stereo Love. Something about it just gets me going. I love that song. Another really good one that I've been getting into again is, I think it's called Don't You Fake It by the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus or something. I don't know. If you listen to it, you'll recognize it, okay? I didn't recognize the title, but as soon as I hit play, I said, oh, dang, I forgot about that song. So those are some that I've been into lately. Still bumping that Cowboy Carter real hard. Still bumping that Strawberry Letter 23. I've been listening to a whole lot of Boney M. If y'all don't know anything about Boney M, get into it, okay? It's some real good, I'm pretty sure 70s music, kind of disco-y vibes. They are just great. And their album covers are wild. I need someone to talk to about it. They always are like, oh, okay. And if you look them up, you'll know what I'm talking about. And what am I eating lately? I think tonight I'm going to make some homemade chicken Caesar wraps. Now, I hadn't always been on the chicken Caesar wrap wave. I was not informed. I was not educated on them. But I had one a while ago and loved it. And so I've been kind of making them homemade every now and then. And they are so good. And if you're lazy like I am, you can just get like the pre-made Caesar kit Caesar salad kit. And then I get some pre-grilled chicken and put that thing on a tortilla with some croutons and you are good to go, okay? They are so easy to do, especially on a weekday after work. Another good thing I've been eating lately is rice and oven roasted vegetables and a chicken thigh. Oh, you cannot go wrong with a chicken thigh, honey. They are always gonna hit. They are always gonna hit. And I feel like they're so dense, you can't really overcook them. So they're easy to do in the oven. And I like to put a little bit of olive oil on top of mine with the skin and make that skin all nice and crispy. Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. So yeah, I'll do chicken, rice, vegetables. Sometimes I'll slap a little gravy on top. It's hard to go wrong doing all that. Now, another thing I've been on, and this is kind of random, but a dried mango, slice. I love me some dried mango. I love mango in general. I've been on a real fruit kick lately. And mangoes have been my go-to. It's just such a good summer vibe. And the dried mango is delicious. It's like nature's fruit roll up. It is so good. So I've been hitting those pretty hard. Been hitting the strawberries and cherries real hard. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been eating. And it has been finger licking freaking good. Alrighty, y'all. I have been gabbing for a real long time. It's time for me to hop off of here. Go make me a chicken Caesar wrap. Oh, wait, before I go, I gotta update you. So we've been playing Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder's going really well. Nothing too exciting has happened. I'm not gonna lie, I have gotten so accustomed to the controls for Donkey Kong that it has been the struggle for me to figure out the controls for Mario Wonder. The buttons are different for different things, and I'm having a bit of a time with it. But I have been practicing. I've been doing my due diligence, trying to get better. So nothing too crazy has happened, but what I will say is there's this little character on there named Prince Florian, and he's like a little, I don't even know, grub. He's like a caterpillar, and he kind of guides you throughout the worlds and stuff. But on each world, you have to complete what they call badge level, and it basically just teaches you a new skill you have. So, like, you could learn how to swim, you learn how to jump really high, you learn how to do wall jumps, and after each badge level, it has been cracking me up, because Prince Florian will say, "Good job learning this new badge, whatever. Do you want me to wear it?" And it just gives, like a kind of risque vibe. I don't know. Every time he says, "Do you want me to wear it?" it makes me laugh. But that's really about the most exciting thing that's happened in that game so far. I've had to fight Bowser's kid. I don't know his name. He's just like a miniature version of Bowser with like a mohawk or something. So I've been having to fight him a couple times, and I got to say, I've never wanted to punch a video game character harder than him. Like, the levels aren't hard. It's not that. I'm not, like, raging over how hard it is. He's just annoying. He reminds me of, like, Neville Papperman from iCarly for some reason, and I don't know. I get annoyed. I've been actually watching iCarly quite a bit lately. I don't know. There's a lot happening in the world, and I just wanted that nostalgic feeling, and so yeah, I turned on iCarly the other day, and I've been loving it. I used to be obsessed with that show whenever it was first airing. Me and my brothers used to watch it constantly. We loved it so much, we literally named our first family pet Carly. Such a good show. You're rue this day, Carly Shay. That's the vibe that Bowser's kid gives, for sure. All right, seriously, I got to go. I got to let you go. I sure do love you, and it was a great time gabbing with you. And be sure to come back next week for the next episode. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Take it easy. All right, bye-bye.